beginning of May in the backyard garden, and start up here on the porch. The green stalk tower that I chose to put strawberries in. Some of these, this is from last year. I did replace, I thought all the ones were dead. That one may have shown signs of life. But I guess I'm gonna need to replace some more here. So, and I feel like I've watered it pretty diligently. I don't know. Overwintering them in the greenhouse was probably the mistake. I should have just left them out. That is a peach Melbourne nasturtium up there too. This is a passion fruit vine that I have aspirations to put in the ground. I did cut back the top when I moved it out. Hardening off some seedlings. That is zinnia and several different types of basil. I have opal and purple ball, two different purple types. And then also tried lettuce leaf basil this year. More zinnias. My cilantro looks like it's about to bolt. I have one starting to go. Although that group doesn't look too great. I took some out yesterday for the same reason. Just went ahead and chopped it off. It's a caladium with an elephant ear, and I believe it's called Black Magic. That is a barracuda calla lily. I got a tradescantia there. I put its cohort out in the front yard this week. That is my original tradescantia. And these guys are super easy to propagate. You literally take a piece of it and stick it in dirt and it will grow. So if you want a plant that's easy to propagate, chocolate mint, and I've chard up here with some black gold, midnight gold petunias. That's what it's called. Got a little angelonia, which hopefully will keep growing and get big enough to see. Anesthesia there. My rose here, it's getting swallowed up, and I don't remember the name of my rose. I feel like I need to go back and review all of my varietals before I start talking about them. But a red rose getting eaten up by daylilies. My last spirit and wine Weigela, I planted the other two out front yesterday. I have plans to do essentially a trench to try and retain water on the property and water the front corner. So I wanted to do that first before I put in the Weigela, because I feel like it would be right sort of in the mix of where that's supposed to be. So there's my citrus, and I do still have some fruit hanging on my Lisbon lemon there. So she's doing pretty well, and she's starting to put out flowers, so I probably need to come out and get the rest of my lemons off. I still have a bunch of lemons, and I keep telling myself I'm going to make lemon curd or something, and I keep not doing it. But that is my Meyer lemon right there that's blooming again. So yeah, gotta get on it, I guess. Bailey floral. This is a witch hazel that I got from a plant sale last week. I haven't decided where she's going yet. I'm basically realizing I'm kind of at critical mass for my yard for trees, so I gotta stop propagating and buying trees. I'll have to go with smaller stuff moving forward. It's potatoes and hydrangea. It's kind of a shame because this is such a cool specimen. It's like one of the first things to flower. It's really in the winter, not even in the spring. And so yeah, I gotta figure out where to put it so people can see it. And I'm definitely not done wanting trees. So I did start pots yesterday. There are no seeds in yet. I will say that, so I started them and I put water in the bottom so they would get wet, but I'm also going to boil some water to pour over the top because they're not soaked all the way through, but also if there's any fungus gnats in the soil, it will kill them, and so you don't have to deal with little gnats when your seedlings emerge. Alright, so there I have a couple of vegetable starts I didn't manage to give away. Banana peppers and 2 Brussels sprouts, so I might just stick them in the ground somewhere. And speaking of starting seeds, I had things these were cold stratified, as in I put them in the fridge, and I thought I needed to get more seeds because nothing ever popped up, and then there's some things that are starting to pop up. They just took a zillion years to actually germinate. So that's a lavender right there. That is a columbine, a William Guinness columbine, and then there's some teeny tiny little lobelias right there, and that is milkweed, and I've yet to be able to get any of that to germinate. And parsley. These are all seeds I started in January, and they didn't pop up till like now, so goes to show. Hydrangea, taken from the cutting of the one out front here. Got some amaranth and lemon balm. Let's see. The other hydrangea, I'm trying to use that same medium to propagate French lilac. We'll see how well that goes. The hydrangeas took really well. And this one that even doesn't look like anything's happening, there's teeny little leaves on there, so they're trying. And those are dahlia tubers that were probably too small to become dahlias. You can see I've planted some things out yesterday, the teeny tiny little poppies I had in there. We'll see how long they last, because it's the squirrel's favorite thing to destroy, apparently. But I have a strategy. We'll see if it works. So primarily some melons, and these are all, I think, seconds. Like I put one of each out already to try and get them going, but some of them have already been beaten up, pulled out, eaten. So I'm going to try and let these get a little bit bigger before I plant them, to try and actually get some melons this year, because I lost all of them last year to the wildlife. These are some basil and lemon balm and amaranth. And all of these seeds I started in these kinds of trays here, these like little individual cells, and they have domes, and they're wonderful for getting the seeds to germinate. They pop up so quickly, and they're just nice little cells. But then I used coconut coir, which I don't usually, and even though I fed them, maybe I didn't feed them enough, it just didn't seem like they were growing. And they needed to be divided up anyway, so here I am, back to my little cup method, sticking with what works for me. There's a bunch of celery I just divided out. That's pink celery. A lot of columbine there, and I have, these are more William Guinness. Oh, so maybe that's not William Guinness over there. I shall check my little tag. But these are definitely William Guinness, and Eastern, which is the native columbine. And we'll go out here and talk about everything else. Asparagus bed. I didn't tie up my tomato. That is an extra black creme. So, and it's, instead of a single liter, it split itself anyways. So I'll come back and tie that up at some point. So asparagus, second year in the ground, looking healthy. I can harvest on it next year. Strawberries have been doing really well, filling in. I need to come in and dig out the liriope, that grass that was inherited, and I swear it keeps popping up in new places. So I need to find a spot for that. Up here, I'll just come up a little bit higher. There's my mango pawpaw. It looks like my irrigation just cut on. It is on automatic. It looks like something has been in recently. That is a Solomon seal. There's another one over there. And I swore I put something over here yesterday, and maybe I didn't. Okay, did a lot of things yesterday. Some poppies. These are black swan. I've got a little bit of the wild garlic sitting next to them. So hopefully, you see, now look at that. Roly-polies, I have so many, and it's wonderful in some ways because they're detritivores, but if they get hungry enough, they eat your plants. they run out of detritus, which, and the population is out of control. It's my service berry. I don't think I mentioned that. We got some comfrey and a blackberry coming up there behind it. She's coming back in. Clematis is working her way up. That is a black hollyhock. Another blackberry. And then back here we have some echinacea coming in. I threw out a bunch of seeds in this corner, so we got a lot that took. That didn't take much. Some wild violets there, my oregano, black jewel raspberry, poppy I put out with a garlic wall around it. It's mostly to try and keep the squirrels away, but look at how many roly-polies are in there. I probably need to invest in like some diatomaceous earth just to sort of cut back the population. I mean, you want them to help, break down things and feed your plants, but when they start eating your plants, that's a little too much. All right, so rhubarb back here, and I have some snap peas growing up the fence there, and then that is a hardy kiwi, and this is her second year in the ground. That is my contender peach, which I replaced a peach that died. Peaches are apparently really hard to grow here, at least for the backyard farmer. Sorry, truck noise. But yeah, I'm having another go of it. All of my blueberries have set fruit this year. Every year for the last, 5 years, we've had frost right when they're flowering, so I've lost all the blooms, therefore no fruit. This is, I got my tomatoes in here. So the tomatoes over here are black cherry on this panel. These are Long Island Brussels sprouts, or that is, and that's a cabbage. And that's a Brussels sprout. That is, I believe these are green zebra. And then these are black creme. And I was trying to do single leader, but I see a lot of these have split, so now they've made their own double leaders. Right. So, I don't know if it's because what I thought was a little sprout in between was actually the leader and I made them have double leads, or if that was like a stress reaction. Not sure. Because I think if it's too cold when they go in the ground, they can do that. I might be wrong, but I feel like I read that somewhere. Cabbage. Brussels sprout. It is celery that is apparently delicious to the wildlife. And that is my Cabernet Splash blueberry, which has these really lovely burgundy leaves. But this is the first time it's put on any fruit. I think it's put on like maybe 3 in the last couple years. There's my little salad corner here. More poppies. Although that one seems to be fine. I did have about 4 different varieties. Greek oregano. This is another thing I probably should have pruned early in the season. It's a Tropicana rose, and it's in the food garden because it's supposed to be a variety that's good for rose hips. Officinalis, what am I talking about? That is a scarlet kale. And those are yarrow, a red flowering variety. That is a kale, Scotch blue dwarf, I believe. I did put in some nasturtiums as well. There's these guys there. Forgot to mention those. Black velvet. Chives here. That patch has been there forever. This is also a lavender that needs a little trim. Poppy. The poppies that were bigger that I've put in seem to be doing better, so that's a lesson moving forward. They've got to be about that size before I can put them out and let the Squirrels leave them alone. So I'll come back this way to go. Instead of going behind the panel there. So you can see there's a lot happening in this bed. It is more scarlet kale. I have all my peppers in here. That was a mustard. And these guys, that's a poblano. I believe those two are poblanos there, and that I think is a paprika. I did notice my first little peppers coming in. I do have a volunteer, probably squash, butternut squash, there. So I might let that go. That is, these are all snap peas, onions, rhubarb, Brussels sprouts, which once it gets a little bit bigger, I'm going to top it and we'll cut off the top there. And that will encourage the Brussels sprouts to form in between there. Looks like something might have nipped off the growing tip of that pepper. Ashe County pimento. So that's a regionally developed pepper, and they're little small pimentos, and they're really sweet and they're yummy. They have been prolific in the past. It's like that one. That's another Ashe County. Okay. That's a beet there. So I feel like I can see the roly-polies eating it. More snap peas. I don't remember all of my varieties. One was like a sugar magnolia. I think that's that one that has a purple pod. I'm going to guess because it's got just like a little bit of purple in there. And I don't think I've ever had except more than one or two. So I'm excited to see those. More volunteers. Looks like it's trying to eat my purple beauty pepper. Same here. My peppers are getting shaded out a little bit. Let's give you an advantage, ma'am. Red rhubarb Brussels, more snap peas that don't seem to want to grab onto the teepee. Now I'd put in the teepee before we put in the trellis, and I didn't know how long it was going to be before we got the trellis in. So for the moment I have both. Once the snap peas are gone, I can pull those down. Rhubarb. Looks like I got a split onion there. And these guys, I think that's a shishito, and that is a murasaki, both sweet peppers. I believe that's another poblano. Cucumbers that I gave my little garlic wreath to. There's an artichoke in there. Red acre cabbage. Oh, to walk right through a spider web. Hold on. Sorry, ma'am. Truly I am. So another peek at this corner here with a hardy kiwi, snap peas. I have some asparagus that I had left over from the bed over there that I put in the ground over here. I want to say that is, oh gosh, I can't remember the variety now of the nasturtium. I think it's like Prince of India, but red bloom, it's pretty. A little baby sage from when I'd taken a sage out the other day on the top layer, because it was just a little seedling, and I moved the other one up front, and that one has been in the ground quite a long time. Looks pretty happy. And my Honeycrisp apple that got sheared in half from the storm. Maybe I'll come around this way to talk about all the things. But you can kind of see it got broken in half, so it's a little lopsided looking. But where the fence is, there is where I keep saying tree, but it was a cluster of trees, came in and split my fig. So that's where the little propagated figs came from, and took off about half of my apple tree. She seems to be recovering, but remains to be seen if we get fruit from her. So back to the bed. More poppies, bigger poppies, artichoke. This is another one I can't manage to get going, or I can get it going, I can't get it to live to fruition. Poppy that seeded itself. We got tons of borage that seeded itself, and some garlic that I apparently forgot to pull out of the ground. Right, the road noise is getting really bad, so I'm gonna try and hurry up here. the red Russian kale. I started pulling out, I need to pull these out, but I'm like, well, they got flowers. The bees might like them. All of my bush tomatoes are in here. So it's Roma, Black Plum, and San Marzano. I did just put in a roselle yesterday. And that is one, it's a hibiscus, really beautiful plant, but it's used for teas. So if you ever see anything that says hibiscus in your tea, it's roselle. That is a red acre cabbage. These are broccoli, so Romanesco and DiCiccio. So I feel like we're probably getting close, and we have some onions interplanted in there. Getting close to them doing something, but maybe not yet. Oh, I hope I didn't just break my leaf. Getting our little flowers for tomatoes. So we'll have tomatoes relatively soon. Very exciting. And I have a ground cherry that I put back over here. And she's also flowering. So we'll have ground cherries soon. But yeah, here's the Honey Crisp. Her little split there. More snap peas. I'm hoping eventually that the hardy kiwi down there and the hardy kiwi over here, which this one's, it's like the 5th year in the ground, but obviously it got squashed during the storm, so it seems to be growing back in very quickly, but hopefully they will meet up eventually. I did put in some birdhouse gourds on that fence. I don't know if that's going to work, since the kiwi's obviously not going to need the fence this year. We'll see. And then cauliflower, again, think I might be getting close to having something finish up. So I went ahead and put out some of my squashes. So I believe that's a butternut. That might be like a table squash, so like an acorn type squash. Got lots of things happening here. This is lamb's quarter, which is wild, and it reseeds itself all over my yard. But it is very nutritious. It's supposed to have more iron than spinach. And since it's popping up in my garden bed, I typically don't eat it because it grows too close to the house and therefore could take up, toxins. We had lead paint on our porch, and so I don't eat anything that's within 10 feet of our house. But since it's here in the garden bed, more than 10 feet from the house, I think I might let it stay, at least for a while. They do get to be about 6 feet tall or more. So I might not let all of these guys stay, but maybe I'll let one, So lots of borage. I have tons of little tree seedlings popping up, also because of the storm. We have all kinds of things that I don't normally. I think that is a peach seedling. So yeah, I've had to do a lot more weeding this summer. Well, it's not summer yet, this season. But sometimes it's good when things reseed themselves, like you end up with borage in your walkways, and that's good. And it doesn't have to take up your garden bed. Cabbages, and that's dill over there, chard, another ground cherry, some Yeticule lettuce, got a little poppy thrown in there, and poppies, and I put an onion on that one. This is also a volunteer, a wild thing, and I believe that is a eupatorium. I'm going to let it grow on a bit. I'm not sure, but I tried to figure it out yesterday, which is bone set, so it has medicinal uses. We'll give it a minute. So we have chard, and then there's some squashes in here, and some melons, lavender. You can hear the bells, some carrots. I might get some carrots. And then I did put in like an okra yesterday, and you can see, I think I put in those, that watermelon yesterday, the day before. It's already eaten up. Okras. And then let's finish up really fast. Blackberry there, pawpaws looking good. Elderberry finally topped. And that is my pink lady apple. And then I have my quince that's new this year. And I finally pulled all of the fruit and flowers off of first year in the ground. You want them to focus on roots. I got all the raspberries that are out of the bed this year. And this is a nectarine, Suncoast nectarine. That is a volunteer peach that came up in my garden beds. It may or may not be edible fruit, so we're gonna have to wait a couple years to find out. My other quince, which is finally starting to leaf out. She doesn't look nearly as happy, but at least she's alive. So we're gonna let her have her time, and hopefully she can keep up. And then back here, finally got all of my blueberries. This is the original one that I put in 7 years ago. And see, it's not, maybe not that long ago, but more than 5 years ago. And it's not very big, so I don't think she's very happy, but she is making fruit. She may get moved one day so she can be more of what she wants to be. That is a blueberry, blueberry, I believe. And these are pink lemonade, which are also kind of leaning over to catch the light here. Looking at it, I need to give it a little bit of a haircut. But yeah, finally getting berries on all of my blueberries. Okay. And I think that's everything.